Hello there. My name's Steve Lowe from Gamma. I'm the product director for mobile at Gamma, and I'm joined here today by my colleagues Rob Kittler.
Hello.
And Jamie Callahan, and we're here to talk about eSIM. So, Jamie, Rob, I don't know if you want to briefly introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Jamie Callahan, Product Marketing Manager at Gamma. So I look after the mobile and IoT propositions for the business.
And I'm Rob Kittler, Head of Connectivity Practice, and I look after connectivity practice at the business, which is joining up sales, marketing, and making sure that our partners are aware of what we've got and hopefully buying our products.
And I guess we're here to talk maybe about three different categories of eSIM, aren't we? So, our existing channel partners will know that Gamma has an eSIM solution today, and that's our own solution. We don't buy this from the networks. We've actually built it ourselves with our SIM manufacturer partner. But we're also going to explore more about what we're going to do in the world of IoT, aren't we? And the different flavors of SIM that we're going to provide there.
So it's timely. It's timely because eSIM for Gamma Mobile, the MVNO, has been live for around about 6 months. Now, a lot of partners are asking for it on the build-up, and it got launched in April 2024. I was going to say 2025 because we're talking about IoT later, and that date is on the tip of my tongue all of the time. But eSIM has been live on Gamma Mobile MVNO for 6 months. It's been very popular. I know I've got a lot of partners that have ordered the boxes. So for those that don't know, you can log on to the Gamma portal. You can go to the mobile menu and order standard SIM cards or eSIM cards. And the eSIMs come out in a wonderful little brown box. They have 50 pamphlets in them with QR codes inside. They unfold really neatly. They look great. It's like origami. It's wonderful. And there's a little guide next to them. But essentially, they're ordered the same way as standard SIM cards are ordered, and they get delivered the same way. But they obviously come in a physical box with QR code pamphlets. We mentioned off camera, Steve, that for those partners that have got some skill in the game or want to, that they may want them electronically.
Yes.
And we do have the ability to send them electronically for partners that want to email them out to customers if they want to. I will caveat that by saying that we still want them to have the pamphlet arrive. So when they order a single way off the portal, as I've described. They will get the pamphlets through the post delivered. And once they've got the pamphlets, we are able then to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Send the electronic files through for emails to be created if need be. So I'll probably sew that part up through this three-part conversation about eSIM because they're live for 6 months. They can be ordered right now. We can send them electronically if we need to. They come out in the little pamphlets. If you haven't ordered one, then please do. If you don't want to order a box of 50 and you just need a couple to test them out, and you've got some customers that are asking for them, if partners email into mobile@gamma.co.uk, then one of the specialists will pick that job up and will happily send half dozen or so SIM cards out for people to use in their little corner of the portal without a problem. So live, operational, doing really well, and always want some more out there. But what we are going to launch, and we've mentioned in another video, is IoT, which is why the three of us are essentially sat here, and I hope people are going to look for those videos as well. But we are launching eSIM in IoT when it gets launched in its first iteration, which is early part of 2025, which is why that date is on the tip of my tongue.
Absolutely. And I guess if we explain the differences, because it is a different solution for IoT. So the way that eSIM has evolved in the kind of smartphone world is that people receive something called a QR code. So firstly, an eSIM is a physical thing. It's a chip that is kind of embedded into the device, and that's why it's called eSIM, embedded SIM, rather than a removable SIM that you put into a SIM slot. And it has different operating system on it. The silicon's slightly different. And what it allows you to do is to overlay different operators' coverage, essentially, onto that SIM. So if you get a traditional SIM card, people think about the physical SIM. But on that chip is an electronic profile. And that profile allows your phone to talk to the network, be authenticated, and allows you to make calls, send SMS if you've got that provisioned onto your network service, and to use data as well. So what we're doing with an eSIM is we're separating those two things. So you get the SIM chip, and then the electronic profile can be overlaid onto the SIM chip, but not when the SIM's being manufactured, but any time after that. So that's essentially what an eSIM is. As you say, in the consumer world, this kind of process has emerged around QR code. You scan a QR code, and what's happening is that software in the device is then talking to the appropriate network operator and saying, I have an authentication code for you here, and I want to download a SIM profile. And the operator receives that authentication code and says, yeah, that's great. I've got a matching profile that matches with that authentication code. I will let you download that profile. So that's essentially how it works. And as you said, Rob, we have two methods that channel partners can use. If they want Gamma to produce QR codes for them, we can do that. We print those for them. If they want to do something themselves, then we can provide them with the file of matching ID codes that will work with the Gamma service. Now, what we're doing in the IoT world is two flavors. One is that there is for devices that are built to be eSIM compatible. So what this means is, in the same way that your Apple or your Samsung device will have a SIM embedded in the device at manufacture, the same thing happens with an IoT device.
Yeah.
So, it's then about how do you get the profile onto that device when maybe it doesn't have a camera and you can't actually scan the QR code. And the second thing we're doing is for those devices that aren't eSIM capable, we're creating a Gamma removable eSIM. So you'll be able to put that in the SIM slot. All the smart software stuff that you have in the device that enables eSIM to work, we include on the Gamma SIM, and that will enable you to pull profiles down from different operators and to change the coverage provider on that SIM.
So what you're saying, that removable eSIM is a bit like your traditional plastic SIM card.
Yeah.
You put that into your device and it enables the device to be eSIM compatible then.
Yeah, and we'll have a default profile on there, which in most cases will be our kind of traditional Gamma Mobile 3UK profile. So when you switch the device on, it won't be a phone in IoT, but you switch the device on, it will actually connect to the 3 network and it will work as normal. So no need to do anything. But if you need to get a different profile, maybe a roaming profile onto that SIM so you can access all 4 UK networks, then we can make that happen for you.
And that's why people would have it, I'm guessing then, because it serves two purposes. First of all, you can download multiple profiles onto it, so access to different networks automatically, or as they're pulled and you've triggered that. But also, we're future-proofing that piece of hardware with a standard SIM card, so no difference to the hardware at all. Slot that in. I'm repeating what you've said. I'm gonna slot that in, but then accessibility to all of the networks. And we know that IoT has got this realm of different networks, aggregated data, different aspects to what you can do and not do on the portal, all of that great access and that great stuff. So
I think there's an extra adage as well there, where if you're a business currently utilizing IoT and IoT devices and you have a fleet of devices out there in the field, you can enable those devices to be eSIM compatible. So not only are you future-proofing that technology, but you're saving on costs as well because you're using your existing technology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you think about where some of these devices go, they go in vehicle fleets that could be anywhere in the world. They go in remote locations, in sensors. We've always used before, I think we've used the example of wind turbines. Most of these things have IoT sensors on them. You've got sensors in rivers tracking pollution, could be anywhere. And if you want to swap the coverage provider because the existing provider isn't giving a good service or the costs are becoming excessive, you're going to have to invest a huge amount of money to go in and change those SIM cards over. And if you then want to have a flexible solution going forward, as you say, Jamie, you're going to have to swap out the device, and that costs you a lot of money.
And I expect that one of the key aspects of it is that some IoT hardware providers aren't currently providing eSIM in their hardware, I'm guessing. So there's no need for a hardware change, although you might want one. But the hardware manufacturers aren't really up to speed, not like the iPhones and the Samsungs of this world. which
think
causes problems.
That's it. Rather than wait for those manufacturers to upgrade their own devices, we can make that work now from what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's amazing that the case for IoT eSIM is so strong from a customer point of view, but yet 80% of IoT devices are not eSIM capable.
Right.
Yeah, so there's definitely an advantage of talking to Gamma and exploring our removable eSIM.
And without making it sound like I'm quoting some of the obvious stuff, we've got airtime, we've got the tariffs, we've got that one pane of glass that partners and customers would log into, and that's still the same. It's just a case of it's the eSIM or the removable eSIM that is agnostic to that. There's nothing special around the tariffs. There's nothing special about the network that they have to go on to, really. It's all there for the taking when they log into the portal to be able to pick and choose and administer. We're not tying anyone's hands or anything peculiar like that.
No, we're just making it easier to get the right coverage onto the right device for the right application in the right geography at the right time. So that's essentially what we're doing. I think one important thing to say is that people may be listening to this and thinking, well, how do I scan a QR code if the sensor is at the top of a wind turbine in the middle of the North Sea? Well, the answer is you don't need to with this solution. We will be able to remotely get a profile onto your SIM chip over the air. So
they get pushed to some degree.
Well, we communicate with the SIM and we get the SIM to trigger the download. So the SIM will send information into the network and then that will trigger the download of the SIM profile, again over the air onto the SIM chip.
Interesting.
So there is communication, but you don't need anyone physically to go there with a camera attached to the device and scan a QR.
You've used an extreme example of a wind turbine, but we do get asked about, how do I get an eSIM onto a router that hasn't got a camera on it? Just any device that hasn't got a camera on it, essentially. So that's how they get forced through, which makes sense.
Exactly, yeah. And again, even an example like that, if you have routers in retail stores or buildings around the UK, if you have to physically change the SIM, everyone will know that's quite a big exercise. You've got to get someone from your field engineering team perhaps to go out and visit all those sites and change SIMs over. So it's not a cheap exercise at all. Yeah, and this way we just remove that whole cost.
I'm guessing with eSIM as well, there's an environmental play there because you're not using all this plastic and you have all these businesses with sustainability and environmental policies. Can eSIM help them with that?
Definitely. Even if it's a removable eSIM, so you've got, plastic and an eSIM chip once that you insert into the device, if you then want to change the profile, the electronic profile on that SIM 10 times, you don't need 10 lots of plastic and 10 separate chips. Yep. You've done it once and that's it. After that, you can do whatever you like.
So we, you and me are currently, although you're doing the most of it, are looking through building all of the collateral, the training materials, all of the educational piece that the partners and some of it end customer facing will have across IoT generally.
Yep.
We've already got some of that in place for Gamma Mobile MVNO eSIM because it was launched 6 months ago, as we've said. But we will also have some collateral and information about standard IoT eSIM and what's the terminology for the removable eSIM
removable
as well?
Physical eSIM.
Okay. So partners need to keep an eye out when we're releasing that information in line with all of the other IoT.
With launching our IoT, Fusion IoT proposition, I'm currently working on that education piece. So how we make this easier for our partners and customers to consume. So it might be some brochures, it might be some battle cards, some presentations for their sales teams to go out to their customers and sell IoT. We're working on that at the moment. And as you said, eSIM will try and make that as clear as possible for the customer or the partner to give them the confidence to go out and sell it. Because this is a new proposition. It's going beyond traditional telephony in terms of phone systems and mobile. Is a completely new proposition, and we need to make that as easy as possible for our partners.
It's a slightly different mindset, isn't it? Because if you look at what we may think of as traditional telecommunications, people always associate it with talking to people, over a phone, whether it's a fixed line phone or a mobile, or sending text messages, or, for the last few years, WhatsApp or whatever the application may be. But what we're talking about here is something that will fundamentally help channel partners to underpin customers' business processes. So the customer needs to be able to automate certain processes. We talked about the sensor of the wind turbine, which is reporting on maybe the maintenance status of that wind turbine, and do I need to actually send someone out every week to inspect the wind turbine, or only when we start to see things behaving less than optimally? That will save money, it will save time. So those kinds of ways you're kind of really enabling people to automate and to reserve resources for when they're really needed. But all that needs communication. It's an underpinning layer of communication that lets one device talk to a computer somewhere, and give you the status update that then enables you to make the right decision for the business.
But yeah, as you said, knowledge is power, and that's what we need to give to our channel partners and customers to make this easy for them.
Okay, well, look, it's a nice chat there about eSIM. Good to refresh ourselves on what we've got, because we've got some good stuff, and even more exciting to talk about what we're about to launch. So thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Steve.
Really great discussion. And thank you for watching. Hope you found it interesting, and look out for our other videos.